Deep in the heart of Central America lies a small town called Yoro, nestled within the lush, tropical landscapes of Honduras, where an extraordinary phenomenon has mystified locals and scientists for over a century. Every year, usually between May and July, after heavy storms roll across the region, residents report something incredible. Hundreds of live fish appear flopping on the ground, as if rain from the sky. This surreal event, known as Lluvia de Peces, the rain of fish, has become a source of local pride, folklore, and fascination around the world. Villagers gather after storms to collect the fish, which are small, silver, and often blind, scooping them up from fields, roads, and even their own backyards. The people of Yoro don't consider this a miracle. They see it as part of life, an annual blessing from the heavens, though no one can fully explain how or why it happens. Scientists, meteorologists, and skeptics have long debated the causes, but no single theory has been able to completely unravel this aquatic mystery. Stories of the fish rain go back more than 150 years, passed down through generations with reverence and awe. One of the earliest mentions comes from 19th century missionaries, who claimed the event was the result of divine intervention, a miracle brought on by prayers to a Spanish priest. That priest, Father Subirana, allegedly prayed for days asking God to help the impoverished people of Yoro who were starving, and then the fish began to fall. This religious account is at the core of many local beliefs, and to this day, the rain of fish is seen not just as a curiosity, but a holy event. However, beyond folklore, the phenomenon has drawn the attention of international journalists and researchers, hoping to capture it on film or analyze it scientifically. Despite repeated visits and observation attempts, most researchers leave with more questions than answers. One of the prevailing theories is that the fish are lifted from nearby rivers or underground water systems during violent storms and deposited by strong winds. But this explanation falters upon closer inspection, since the fish found are not the same as those in local rivers, and crucially, many appear to be blind or adapted to life underground. This detail has led others to suggest that the fish may not fall from the sky at all, but rather emerge from underground when the soil becomes saturated by torrential rain. The idea of subterranean fish might sound far-fetched, but the region around Yoro is known for its complex karst topography, which includes underground rivers and limestone caves. Some believe that during intense rainfall, water pressure rises in these hidden aquifers, forcing blind fish, possibly cave-dwelling species, to the surface. It's a theory that blends geology, biology, and hydrology, and it may be the most plausible natural explanation offered so far. Still, eyewitness accounts describe seeing fish fall from the sky, sometimes pelting rooftops or appearing mid-downpour. These dramatic retellings complicate the scientific narrative, as it's hard to explain such specificity through mere surface emergence. Some researchers argue that memory, emotion, and storytelling might embellish the details, turning a mysterious natural event into something more spectacular. Yet, for the people of Yoro, there's no doubt in their minds this is a literal rain of fish, a gift from the heavens. They've built a cultural identity around it, and every year the town holds a festival to celebrate the miracle. There's music, dancing, food, and of course, fish served up in dozens of traditional Honduran dishes. The festival de la Lluvia de Peces brings people together from across Honduras and beyond, cementing Yoro's reputation as the only place in the world where fish fall from the sky. Local children grow up looking forward to the fish rain season, racing through puddles in rubber boots with buckets, laughing and scooping up silver prizes. Older residents remember their own childhoods, marked by similar scenes, proof that the tradition is both enduring and real. Even the government has taken notice, using the phenomenon as a form of soft tourism marketing, drawing eco-travelers and mystery seekers alike. Yoro's fish rain has been featured on global media platforms, from National Geographic to the Discovery Channel, but none have fully captured the essence of it. To understand the fish rain is to understand Yoro itself, a town shaped by nature, myth, and the unexplainable. But what if there's something else at play, something deeper, hidden beneath the surface? Could this be more than just an oddity of weather or geology? Could the answers lie in the forgotten histories of the region, or even in phenomena the modern world doesn't yet understand? The mystery of the rain of fish continues to resist simple categorization. It's part scientific puzzle, part cultural heritage, and part spiritual legend. And like all good mysteries, the more you look, the stranger it becomes. Over the next chapters, we'll explore the competing explanations, the biological anomaly. They say history repeats itself, but what about the parts we forgot? Welcome to Echoes of History, the channel where we dig up the dusty corners of the past to uncover the weird, the wild, and the wait, what? Stories they didn't teach you in school. Grab your curiosity and maybe a cup of tea, because what you're about to hear might just change how you see the world. When trying to understand the rain of fish, one must begin with the people who have lived through it, the eyewitnesses, who have seen with their own eyes what most consider impossible. Year after year, during the first heavy storms of the rainy season, they describe fish appearing not gradually, but all at once, sometimes as if dropped from the clouds above. Their stories don't vary wildly. Many describe hearing the thud of fish hitting rooftops, or seeing fish scattered across the dirt as the rain subside. Take Don Ernesto, an elderly farmer from Yoro who has witnessed the event over a dozen times. He recounts how one afternoon in June, following a brutal thunderstorm, the streets were suddenly covered in fish still alive, gasping, some even wriggling toward puddles. "We didn't see them fall," he says, "but they were there before the storm and after. The whole ground was shining silver." Others, like schoolteacher Lucia Ramos, claim to have seen fish actually falling during the storm. "They came with the rain," she says, "like a hail of silver bouncing off the roof and the banana trees. We were terrified and amazed." These first-hand accounts form the foundation of belief in Yoro, supported by tradition and memory. For outsiders, these stories often sound fantastical to be true. Yet the consistency among testimonies is striking. There's no monetary incentive. Number fame to be gained, only a communal sense of wonder and cultural pride. In fact, many locals are surprised that the outside world finds it so hard to believe. Documentarians and news crews have tried to capture the fish rain as it happens, but nature is unpredictable. Most visitors arrive during the rainy season, camp out for days, and leave disappointed, having missed the elusive event. But in 2004, a team from Japan reportedly captured footage of the aftermath: dozens of fish scattered across roads after a heavy downpour. The fish they found weren't common river species. Instead, they were identified as small, pale creatures resembling catfish, with underdeveloped eyes and a preference for darkness. This biological anomaly became a turning point in the investigation. Blind fish, also known as troglodytic species, are usually found deep in subterranean water systems far from rivers, lakes, or the ocean. That raised an important question: if these fish don't live in nearby surface waters, how do they end up on land after a storm? And more importantly, why only in Yoro? Local rivers have been sampled multiple times by researchers hoping to find these blind fish, but they rarely appear in any standard survey. This supports the theory that the fish originate not from rivers or lakes, but from underground reservoirs. The karstic landscape of Yoro, full of caves and porous limestone, may serve as the perfect breeding ground for such subterranean life. According to geologists, intense rainfall can cause sudden pressure spikes in these aquifers, forcing water and possibly fish up through natural vents and cracks in the earth. In effect, the ground itself may be spitting out the fish, depositing them on the surface as if from the sky. But even this explanation isn't airtight. For one, many locals claim to see the fish fall directly from above, sometimes during the heaviest downpour. Could this be an illusion, a misinterpretation caused by the intensity of the storm? Or is there an atmospheric element at work that is yet to be identified? One of the more exotic theories suggests that the fish are sucked up into the clouds by waterspouts or tornadic winds from nearby bodies of water. These rotating columns of air could, in theory, lift fish from rivers or lakes and deposit them inland. This phenomenon has been documented in coastal areas of the world. Frogs, fish, even small crabs have fallen from the sky after similar storms. However, Yoro is located dozens of kilometers from any large body of water, and no such vortex activity has ever been recorded during the fish rain. Moreover, the same type of fish shows up year after year, always in the same area, which makes random uplifts seem unlikely. The waterspout theory might work elsewhere, but in Yoro, it raises more questions than it answers. The biological aspect of the fish adds another layer to the mystery. Scientists who have analyzed specimens note their blindness, pale skin, and strange behavior traits commonly found in deep cave species. These fish show no signs of having recently lived in open rivers. Their bodies suggest an existence in darkness and pressure. Some researchers believe the species may be endemic to Yoro, unknown to science, and not officially classified. If true, then the fish rain is not just a meteorological or geological mystery, but a biological discovery waiting to be understood. Yet collecting live specimens during the actual event has proven incredibly difficult. The fish often die quickly upon exposure to light and heat, making preservation a challenge. And since the rain never follows a predictable schedule, most researchers arrive either too early or too late. A few labs have managed to freeze and analyze tissue samples, but results have been inconclusive. DNA testing suggests the fish are closely related to a Styanax species, a group known to include blind catfish in Mexico and Central America. But no exact match has been found in public databases, leaving the origin unresolved. It's as if the fish belong to a shadow world, beneath our feet, surfacing only during nature's rarest tantrums. Some scientists now propose that the fish may represent a relic population, survivors of an ancient species long hidden underground. The fish rain may thus serve as a brief window into a forgotten evolutionary niche. But even that doesn't fully explain why this happens only in Yoro, and nowhere else with similar geology. Other regions of the world with underground rivers and karst formations do not experience such phenomena. So why Yoro? Why this town, and not others like it? Could the cause be a combination of factors: unique soil, rare weather patterns, and isolated biology all aligning perfectly? Or perhaps the answer lies beyond natural science. The spiritual beliefs of Yoro's residents cannot be dismissed, especially given the history and reverence tied to the event. For many, it doesn't matter whether science explains the fish rain, what matters is the miracle itself. Some even say that questioning it too much ruins the magic. For beyond the strange biology and disputed science, the fish rain of Yoro holds a powerful place in the spiritual life of its people. To the residents of this quiet Honduran town, the event isn't just rare, it's sacred, and its roots run deeper than any rainfall. Many attribute the phenomenon to the intercession of a man named Father Jose Manuel Subirana. Subirana was a Spanish missionary who arrived in Honduras in the mid-1800s. dedicating his life to the poor. He was deeply moved by the poverty in Yoro, where families struggled with hunger and few could afford more than beans and maize. According to legend, he prayed fervently for 3 days and nights, asking God to provide food for the starving people. After his prayers, the sky darkened and a great storm fell upon the town. When it ended, the ground was covered in fish. It was the first recorded rain of fish, and it has returned almost every year since, always tied to the early summer storms. This legend is not just folklore, it's woven into Yoro's identity. Statues of Father Subirana stand in the town square, and churches bear his name with reverence. Each year, during the season of the fish rain, special masses are held in his honor. To believers, the rain of fish is a divine answer to an old prayer, repeated each year as a sign of grace for them. Asking where the fish come from, or how they fall, is missing the point. The miracle isn't about mechanics, it's about faith and gratitude. This spiritual view often clashes with visiting scientists or skeptics who seek logical explanations. But the townspeople don't mind. In fact, many welcome the attention but stay firm in their beliefs. Let them study, one local priest once said. They'll find what they're looking for. We already have. The rain of fish has also become a source of unity in the region, bringing people together in celebration and tradition. During the season, families prepare for the event, checking nets, cleaning pots, and setting up roadside stalls. Children are taught from a young age to recognize the smell in the air before it happens. When the fish do come, it's a time of community. People gather in the streets, collecting the still-moving fish with buckets and laughter. Even those with little food the rest of the year can feast for a day or two. The event is also tied to a local festival called Festival de la Lluvia de Peces. Held annually, it features parades, music, food, and cultural performances centered on the miracle of the rain. Colorful fish costumes and banners fill the streets, celebrating both nature and the divine. But the story doesn't end with faith or fish. It's also drawn the attention of fringe theorists and paranormal investigators. Some believe the fish rain is evidence of a dimensional rift where the realities briefly overlap. Others claim it could be a sign of alien interference or even ancient technologies buried beneath Yoro. These ideas may sound extreme, but in a world full of unsolved mysteries, they find eager audiences online. YouTube channels, Reddit threads, and podcasts have all speculated on the true nature of Yoro's phenomenon. Some episodes link it to ley lines or magnetic anomalies supposedly mapped in Central America. One of the most persistent fringe theories suggests an underwater or subterranean civilization deep beneath the earth. Proponents claim that the fish are not rain in a conventional sense, but released through vents from ancient tunnels. They argue that seismic activity or unknown technology might control the timing of these releases. While there's no scientific backing for these claims, the mystery itself fuels the imagination. After all, it wouldn't be the first time folklore masked a hidden truth later uncovered by science. And in a world growing ever more explained, few things excite people like the unexplained. For some locals, these outside theories are entertaining, but they stick with what they know. Their belief is grounded in memory, repetition, and reverence, not in conspiracy or spectacle. But they're also not dismissive. They simply smile and say, "Come and see for yourself." That invitation is at the heart of Yoro's enduring mystery. While science, faith, and speculation circle the fish rain from different angles, the event remains real to those who experience it, and each new witness, scientist, tourist, or pilgrim adds another chapter to the legend. Still, the Honduran government has shown little interest in deep investigation. Outside of a few university studies, no long-term scientific project has been funded to monitor or record the phenomenon. Some argue this is a missed opportunity not just for biology, but for tourism and culture. A permanent observatory could be built in Yoro, equipped with cameras, sensors, and environmental tracking. Local guides could assist researchers, blending folklore and fieldwork into a shared narrative. But so far, the mystery remains mostly undocumented in scientific terms, and perhaps that's part of what preserves its power. As long as the fish rain exists mostly in memory and myth, it remains untouchable by data and charts. It belongs not to labs and textbooks, but to stories and rituals. The children of Yoro grow up with it, just as their parents and grandparents did. They wait for the sky to darken, for the wind to shift, for the smell of wet earth and something else, something marine. Then, they run outside to find the fish, whether it's divine, geological, or something else entirely. The rain of fish has become a cycle of identity. It is not only about what falls, but what rises in its place: a sense of wonder, a moment of unity, a brush with the miraculous. And in that way, the real miracle may not be the fish themselves, but how they bring a town together. These moments can't be fully explained by data alone. They must be lived, felt, passed down like a story whispered across generations. And Yoro, with its rains and its rhythms, while the fish rain of Honduras has been cherished locally for over a century, it remained relatively obscure on the global stage for most of that time. The first international reports of the phenomenon appeared in scattered newspaper columns during the early 1900s, but these stories were often dismissed as journalistic exaggeration or simple misreporting from rural Latin America. In the 1970s, the phenomenon gained wider attention when National Geographic sent a small team to investigate. They didn't capture the event on film, but they documented the aftermath: hundreds of live fish scattered across a muddy field. Since then, the fish rain has been featured in documentaries, television specials, and travel segments. Some media outlets have approached the story with genuine curiosity, highlighting its mystery and cultural richness. Others have used it for clickbait or comedic effect, portraying Yoro as a backward village with freak weather. This dual portrayal wonder and ridicule has shaped global perception in complicated ways. In recent years, social media has revived interest in the phenomenon, sparking viral posts and a debate. Photos of fish on dirt roads, TikTok videos of locals collecting them in buckets, and interviews with elders have drawn millions of views. Hashtags like hashtag rain of fish and hashtag YORO trend periodically during the rainy season. But with virality comes distortion. Many videos use misleading footage such as flood scenes from India or sardine beaches in Japan to fake the fish rain. These fabrications muddy the waters, making it harder to separate real evidence from digital manipulation. Still, the consistent annual testimonies from residents remain a powerful counterbalance. For many locals, the camera isn't the proof of their lived experiences. "We don't need to convince the world," one woman told the news crew. "We just need to cook dinner." That sentiment has resonated globally, particularly with communities that also embrace unexplained events. Around the world, there are scattered reports of strange animal rains, frogs in Serbia, fish in Australia, and even worms in Norway. But Yoro's rain of fish is by far the most regular, the most culturally embedded, and the most investigated. Scientists interested in anomalous weather patterns have begun compiling these events into global databases. One such researcher, Dr. Karen Larson from the University of Leeds, has mapped nearly 100 recorded animal rain incidents across the last 300 years. But only Yoro has a multi-generational record backed by consistent timing and local ritual. That consistency is what sets it apart and puzzles atmospheric scientists the most. Weather doesn't repeat like this with such precision, Dr. Larson notes. Nature isn't clockwork, so something else must be at play. That something else remains elusive. Several researchers have proposed broader atmospheric models that could explain such animal displacements. One theory involves hyper-localized vortices, small but intense columns of air that form over water and move inland. These vortices could hypothetically lift aquatic creatures and drop them miles away. But the lack of nearby large bodies of water challenges that theory in Yoro's case. The closest ocean is over 70 kilometers away, and no large lakes or rivers lie in the immediate vicinity. The fish are also notably small, silver, and blind-fitting no known local species. That last fact has sparked entirely new questions. Are the fish native? Are they underground dwellers? Or are they a previously undocumented species? In 2012, a team from the Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Honduras collected samples to analyze. Their results were inconclusive. The fish were similar in appearance to Styanax mexicanus, a species known for living in caves. But without definitive genetic sequencing, the mystery deepened rather than resolved. Other biologists have hypothesized that the fish may inhabit underground streams and surface only during intense rains. This idea ties back to local reports of fish emerging from the ground, not falling from the sky. Yet no one has discovered a verifiable underground reservoir housing such a population. The lack of physical infrastructure like monitoring stations or long-term research camps limits scientific conclusions. And because the event is seasonal and unpredictable, timing a formal study is difficult. Most researchers can only react after it occurs, often arriving too late. As a result, the fish rain has remained in scientific limbo, too persistent to dismiss, too elusive to define. And that uncertainty has made it a darling of mystery-themed media around the world. From Ripley's Believe It or Not to BBC travel specials, the story has been retold dozens of times. Each version adds its own spin, some focus on miracles, others on meteorology, and a few on mystery for its own sake. These retellings have created a patchwork mythology, often more cinematic than factual. But for Yoro, even the exaggerated versions bring attention and, occasionally, tourism dollars. The town now balances its sacred tradition with commercial opportunity. Local hotels offer fish rain packages during the rainy season, and restaurants create special menus themed around the miracle. Tourists arrive hoping to witness the event firsthand, often waiting for days under gray skies. While some do see the aftermath, fish scattered across streets, few witness the moment of descent. There are no clear videos showing the actual fall from the sky. Most footage captures only what remains: wet ground, sunfish, and curious onlookers. This lack of direct observation frustrates skeptics but invigorates believers. Miracles don't need to be filmed, one local told a travel blogger. They just need to be lived. And indeed, the faith around the phenomenon is as strong as ever. International journalists have often asked, why doesn't the government or a university invest more in the study? The answer, it seems, is complex, part resource limitations, part cultural respect, part scientific fatigue. Many officials consider the event more folkloric than factual, not worth diverting funds from more pressing issues. But others argue that the fish rain represents a missed opportunity for Honduras to highlight its natural wonders. In a country often overshadowed by negative headlines, a mystery this rich could be a cultural export. "We export coffee," said one local mayor. Why not also export wonder? That sentiment is echoed by young Hondurans who see potential in promoting their country. Through stories like this, social media creators, tour operators, and educators are starting to reframe the fish rain as part of a national identity. For them, it's not just about explaining the mystery, it's about owning it. Schools in Yoro now include the rain of fish in their curricula, combining science, history, and culture. Children are taught both the folklore of Father Subirana and the biological possibilities. In doing so, they grow up with an appreciation for mystery without losing their grounding in reason. This dual approach may be Yoro's greatest gift to the world, the ability to hold faith and curiosity in the same breath. In a time when everything demands a binary explanation, real or fake, miracle or hoax, Yoro offers a third way. A place where uncertainty isn't a failure, but a story still unfolding. Global reactions continue to evolve. Scientists petition for more data. In our modern age of technology, mysteries like the rain of fish are harder to keep unexplained. Satellites, smartphones, motion sensors, and AI models have transformed how we study natural phenomena. So why does the fish rain of Yoro remain such a persistent enigma? One reason is the lack of real-time observation. The event occurs only a few times per year, often unexpectedly, and lasts just minutes. Without continuous monitoring, most scientific teams arrive after the fish have already fallen or surfaced. But what if that changed in recent years? A few local researchers and citizen scientists have begun testing tools to monitor the phenomenon. These include motion-triggered wildlife cameras, barometric sensors, and even drones on standby during the rainy season. The hope is to capture the moment the fish appear, whether falling from the sky, emerging from the ground, or arriving some other way. So far, no camera has definitively captured the initial descent, but each year brings new footage of aftermath, fish wriggling in puddles, stunned but alive. Satellite imagery has also been proposed as a solution. In theory, high-resolution weather satellites could detect unusual vortex activity near Yoro, but the area's cloud cover, terrain, and the small size of the event make detection difficult. Another possibility is radar used to track storms and airborne debris. If a concentrated pocket of fish were truly lifted into the sky, Doppler radar might register the anomaly, yet local infrastructure doesn't currently support such detailed data gathering. That's where international partnerships could make a difference. Universities, environmental agencies, and private tech firms have shown interest in studying the fish rain, but they often lack funding or cultural access to embed in the community long enough. Yoro itself remains cautious about too much external interference. The people don't want their sacred event to be dissected, monetized, or turned into a circus. So, any research must walk a careful line respecting belief while pursuing evidence. Artificial intelligence offers new possibilities by feeding large datasets of past rainfall, wind patterns, seismic activity, and historical records into AI models. Researchers can search for patterns if a reliable predictor emerges. It could change everything. For example, if a certain barometric pressure or wind shift consistently precedes the fish rain, future events could be anticipated. This would allow researchers to prepare in advance with high-speed cameras and data collection gear. It would also allow the world to witness the phenomenon firsthand. Some believe that pattern recognition will eventually crack the case. Others argue that the event is inherently chaotic, too random to model with precision. Still, the idea of an eye-assisted solution is no longer far-fetched. I could also help verify or debunk video evidence. With the rise of deepfakes and AI-generated images, sorting real footage from staged hoaxes has become more difficult. But that same technology can now analyze pixel depth, metadata, and atmospheric consistency in videos. If someone claims to have recorded fish falling from the sky, AI tools can evaluate the lighting, sound, and wind behavior to test its authenticity. This could help separate real citizen captures from internet pranks. And with enough confirmed examples, a verified visual record of the fish rain might finally emerge. But technology alone can't explain everything. Some researchers are turning to interdisciplinary approaches, combining meteorology with folklore, geology with ethnography, because sometimes answers come not from one lens, but many. Take the theory of subterranean origins. According to this idea, fish don't fall from the sky, they emerge from underground. But for that to happen, there must be caves, aquifers, or temporary water systems beneath the surface. Ground-penetrating radar GPR could help map what lies below Yoro's soil. If an underground fish population exists, GPR could reveal tunnels or chambers activated by heavy rain. So far, no comprehensive geological scan has been conducted in the region. Seismic sensors might also offer clues. Sudden shifts underground triggered by storms could force aquatic life upward. But deploying and maintaining such equipment in a rural, seasonal setting is costly. Another question that lingers is, why are the fish always the same size and type? Every year, they appear small, silver, and nearly blind, traits that align with cave-dwelling species. But even if they are catfish, how do they reach the surface in such large numbers? If they were being washed up from underground, there should be consistent exit points, cracks, holes, or streams, yet no such sources have been found. And locals swear they've seen fish fall directly from the sky. This contradiction sits at the heart of the mystery. Are eyewitnesses mistaken? Is mass psychology at work? Or are both sky and earth somehow involved? The truth may lie in overlap rainfall triggering pressure changes underground that drive fish upward, while wind patterns lift a few into the air. Climate change may further complicate the mystery. As global weather patterns shift, the timing and intensity of Yoro's rainy season could change. Already, locals report variations in when and how strongly the fish rain occurs. If the event disappears entirely, we may lose our chance to understand it. If it grows stronger or spreads, new variables will enter the equation. Either way, time is running out for definitive answers. This sense of urgency has prompted calls for a fish rain task force, a dedicated group of interdisciplinary experts to study the event annually. The idea has been floated by regional universities and science journalists alike. But funding remains elusive, and the pandemic delayed several proposals. Still, hope persists. Every year, more people learn about the rain of fish. And with each generation, new minds bring fresh ideas, tools, and energy to the puzzle. What was once a quiet village mystery is now a global conversation. And in that conversation, modern science doesn't dismiss the mystery, it deepens it. It shows us just how little we still understand about the intersection of every year. When the skies darken over Yoro and fish fall to the earth, something profound happens beyond science. It's not just the appearance of fish, it's the arrival of meaning. For the people of Honduras, this is more than a weather anomaly. The fish rain is a living symbol. It speaks to hope in times of hunger, abundance after drought, and blessings where none were expected. It reminds people that nature still holds miracles in a world driven by logic. Faith often feels sidelined, but in Yoro, faith and nature are inseparable. The villagers don't question how they embrace the why for them. The fish rain is a sign that someone is watching over them. Some say it's God answering their prayers. Others believe it's the spirit of Father Subirana, still providing from beyond. The story of Father Subirana, the priest who once prayed for the poor to receive food, is deeply rooted in the community. He died over a century ago, but his legacy lives in the falling fish. Each drop from the sky is a continuation of his compassion. This gives the phenomenon a sacred aura. It turns each event into a spiritual reminder that even when the world forgets the poor, something greater remembers. And so, when scientists come to study the fish rain, they must do more than bring equipment. They must bring humility. Because what they see as data, the people see as destiny. This duality, science and spirit, makes the fish rain unique. It refuses to fit neatly into either category. It challenges our need for black and white answers. Perhaps that's why the world is so drawn to it. In an era of instant facts and endless information, the fish rain offers mystery, a space where questions still breathe. Children in Yoro grow up hearing stories of the fish rain. They wait for it with wonder in their eyes, believing they live in a magical place. And maybe they do. It's not just about biology or rainfall, it's about identity. The fish rain belongs to Honduras and especially to Yoro. It's a part of who they are, of how they define themselves to the world. Tourists come from across the globe to witness the phenomenon. Some seek proof, others seek stories. Most leave with more wonder than answers. The event has inspired songs, poems, murals, and plays. It's taught in schools and celebrated in festivals. It's become both a local pride and a national treasure. Yet not all Hondurans have seen it. Some think it's just a story kept alive by tradition. But in Yoro, the fish are real, and so is the belief. That belief spreads beyond borders. In a world scarred by war, poverty, and disaster, people long for signs of grace. The fish rain becomes a global metaphor for something beautiful falling where it's least expected. Online, the event has taken on new life. Social media spreads footage of fish in puddles, sparking debate and awe. Videos go viral not just for the spectacle, but for the mystery. Some see the fish as symbols of survival. Others see them as evidence that science hasn't explained everything. Still others see them as spiritual proof that the universe listens. In literature, rain often symbolizes renewal. Here, it rains not just water but nourishment, life falling from the sky. It's a reversal of the natural order. Usually, fish live in water, but in Yoro, water delivers the fish. This reversal invites philosophical reflection. What other assumptions might be wrong? What other wonders might we miss because they don't fit our models? The fish rain also challenges our idea of rarity. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime event, it happens regularly. Yet it never feels ordinary to those who witness it. That tension between repetition and awe is deeply human. We are wired to seek pattern but also to crave mystery. And here, both exist side by side. Some residents whisper about deeper meanings. They say the fish rain arrives when it's most needed. That it's not about the season but about the soul of the community. This belief brings people together. Neighbors share their catches, children laugh and splash through the rain, lifting fish from the earth like gifts. In a way, the fish rain is also an act of communion between nature and humans, between the past and the present. It bridges the physical and the spiritual. The world has tried to define it. Science has probed it. Cameras have sought it. Skeptics have doubted it. But still, it returns quiet, strange, and sacred. And maybe that's the point. Not everything needs to be fully known. Some things are meant to be experienced. The fish rain teaches us to wonder again. It humbles the arrogant. It comforts the faithful. In Yoro, it rains fish. And that rain, people see more than survival. They see meaning. They see proof that the world is not entirely understood. That in the cracks of knowledge, beauty still falls. That maybe miracles aren't rare, they're just unrecognized. And that even in the poorest corners of the earth, wonder still arrives. The fish rain may never be fully explained, but it doesn't need to be. It already means enough. Enough to feed the hungry. Enough to inspire the curious. Enough to remind us all, the world is still full of magic. From the skies of Honduras to the questions in our hearts, the fish rain continues. And as long as it does, we'll keep looking up, just in case something extraordinary falls again. That's it for today's Forgotten Tale. If this story made you raise an eyebrow or don't forget to like, subscribe, and and ring that dusty little bell so you never miss another echo from the past. Drop it in the comments. We're always listening for new echoes. Got a weird bit of history you think we should cover? Until next time, keep your curiosity loud and your history weird. That's it for today's Forgotten Tale. If this story made you